Hello and welcome back to Forts Pro League Season 6. We're here on the left-hand side. In the blue, it is Team Fish is Fish. Marlin and Dory are playing as the Architect Commander here in Round 1 in this best of 3, where they're facing off against their opponents on the right-hand side. In the red, it is Team Gonna Touch You. Rebjik and Butterdog are playing as the Spook Commander, where, things are going to be getting exciting here. Now, these are teams and players that I've grown to love and enjoy over their careers here at Forts, partially because, the Fish is Fish team has been a relative newcomer that's made a name for themselves. They're a good friend group that always put together an impressive series of games whenever they're involved. And, Rebjik and Butterdog, they're a good time all around. So I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out. I'm expecting a good series between these teams, in part because I credit these teams to be somewhat similar in skill, as there are some matches where there's such a large skill gap between the players, or between the teams, that it gets kind of predictable. But that isn't the case with this matchup in particular. What's more is all the players involved, they're not afraid to get a little bit wild, a little bit unconventional, and that can lead to some unusual outcomes, some unusual pathways or strategies along the way. And that's just a little bit more exciting. There's a little extra twist on the stories these teams weave together. Now, when it comes to this match specifically, I'm not expecting anything super unusual, super out of pocket, or particularly wild, as it were. And the reason for that is mostly down to the commander choice and the lack of anything obviously insane at this point already on the board. Something, for example, like the Architect Commander. It's a very reactive commander. When you charge its commander ability after taking a hit, the active will give you double build speed for all of your everything, which means that after taking a punch, you can then reconstruct whatever you lose, or, as is the typical strategy, you just take the punch and then use it to construct your weapons in the first place. And that leads to more defensive playstyles. Things like letting your opponent shoot you first while you work on your economic developments, and then use that build speed boost to rapidly construct a set of weapons that you can then use to fight back. Whereas on the other side, Team Gonna Touch You, they're playing as the Spook Commander. Spook Commander doesn't have any bonuses that make them particularly effective in aggressive plays, but they are quite capable of doing anything, really. Its main gimmick is that it steals money. I should say its main gimmick is that it lets you see into the enemy fort during the commander active, but realistically, the most effective element of it is that you just steal money from your opponents. That gives you an economic bonus while detracting some power from your opponents. But it comes to the side effect of you get to see what the opponent is doing, which mitigates against cheesy tactics or surprise attacks, that kind of thing. And because of that, I'm not expecting some super hyper aggro play or cheesy plays out of anyone. And what plays are going to be involved will likely be a high economy playstyle. And we're seeing that from everyone, where there's upgrade centers all around, upgraded mines and such, and we do have things like a shotgun, which is currently being sold off, and the sniper, which fits about what I was saying, where they'll have a little bit of plinking back and forth, but no actual real attempts at dealing damage. And here, Marlin is going for some pretty heavy howitzer production, getting set up with maximum eco, all the storage is necessary to fund multiple howitzers at the same time. And now we see Dory replying in kind with the shotguns. You'll love to see it. Thus far, nothing particularly out of pocket, nothing unusual. Just a slow, gradual build-up to weapons of massive destruction. You see the snipers plinking back and forth. One thing I do like, and that's something that's it's something which is a bit more common in this season, is the more active use of early game weapons as a way of keeping keeping the opponents honest. We see shotguns. It's not just the token EMP, but we'll see shotguns and AP snipers used pretty consistently across the season, just to plink away at the opponents and keep them in check. Say, for example, here, if your opponent is building multiple weapons behind a single wooden door, this can be sniped by both the AP sniper and the shotgun, and one thing we've seen a lot of is, well, that exactly. And say this AP sniper were to start blasting and the shotguns start clearing the wood, then those weapons will go down, and we've seen that many, many times in this season. Now, I wasn't really expecting triple howitzer, at least not this fast. I was kind of expecting a little bit less. What's the word I want to use? I don't think greedy is the right word, just because everyone involved is rushing this kind of high eco play. But it is a little bit risky to just start putting down triple howitzer before massively defending your base. Because the reality is, it is at 6.5 minutes, and while no major weapons have been fired, they could have been fired for about 2 minutes now, at least theoretically. And I believe, just based on the player scouting, that they knew there wasn't going to be any particularly high-paced rushes. So, you know, a minute and a half ago, they would expect that there would be no incoming weapons. But even then, by now, as evidenced by, let's say, Butterdog having 2 plasmas ready to fire, there could have been some massive incoming fire. Massive damage dealt. It's just a matter of whether they want to or not, and whose weaknesses show first. So having that third howitzer developed while weapons are pointed at you and your defenses are not up to snuff, not up to the capabilities of fully defending against multiple heavy weapons, and you gotta be a little careful with that. But here come the shotguns, keeping the howitzers out of the sky. It is worth noting that Team Fish's Fish has gone pure howitzer. The only way that those shots deal any damage whatsoever is if Team Gonna Touch Ya's anti-air is shut down, or completely overwhelmed, and, well, everyone involved here knows that, so I'm expecting to see some ramped up pressure from Team Fish is Fish, whereas, well, their opponents are going to be developing additional anti-air in an effort to shut that down. Here we see another flak, which I assume will be converted into a shotgun momentarily. Complete overwhelm. Oh, near complete overwhelm. But multiple shotguns are enough to keep Ribjik alive. Interesting, Dory selling off their own shotgun. Guess they don't particularly need it, given it's pure laser play from their opponents. But lacking a shotgun means lacking map control, the ability to suppress the anti-air from your opponent. And without anti-air suppression, well, those howitzers are going to have a rough time getting across. Then again, a relatively small map, not a lot of reaction time available. So they might just be able to overwhelm and get it across anyways, which seems to be what is happening to some degree. A couple hits. Nice damage, but nothing game-breaking. And now it is time for the reply, as Red Team is going to be blasting with variant laser beams. Mostly plasmas, which are pretty good. They are the deep penetration option. Here, I like to see the snipers here for Dory. This is what I want to see, especially AP snipers, because they deal enough damage to actually shut down the shotguns. And that's it. Ribjik goes down. just off the back of a pair of howitzers that fired at maximum velocity at point-blank range, straight to the foundation, and it all comes crumbling down. Butterdog is the last one standing, and while he does possess multiple shotguns and energy weapons of his own, that's just kind of a lot of howitzer firepower heading his direction. And there's that AP sniper coming in from on high, taking out a shotgun. He's gonna need more shotguns than that. Oh, that was so close. It actually got door sniped, but the door closed in time to save the howitzer. That could have been the end of Dory had that shot been just a few frames faster. And now Fish's Fish has 5 howitzers pointed directly at Butterdog, and Butterdog has not nearly enough shotguns to shut them all down. But he gets 2. And uh-oh, misses that one, and now the howitzers are singing. A solid hit. Butterdog loses some of his forward defenses. Actually manages to catch that sniper around the turbine, which is quite nice. Yeah, look at the snipers. Just tearing into their opponents, leaving basically no anti-air left. There's only 2 shotguns remaining, and that's not going to be enough. One shotgun does its work, and the other one fires its shot, but there are more howitzers inbound. Should be more howitzers inbound. Why are you not firing? Something happened. You tried to fire and nothing happened, so something happened with that howitzer, which prevented it from firing. It is worth noting that Butterdog is constantly attempting the door snipe here. Every time the howitzers pretend to fire, or even wants to fire, Butterdog starts firing his plasma directly at them, which, for the record, given the density of the howitzer stacks here, could absolutely end either of these players here for Team Fish's Fish. If a door snipe happens, and it destroys the howitzer, it is very likely to take the entirety of the base with it, whoever's base it is. It is, of course, a very tall task. I think Dory is the most vulnerable to door sniping here. But Butterdog is holding the line. Lasers have been the meta this season, off the back of the latest balance patch, which has resulted in a lot of door sniping. Like, it's a lot of door sniping. Door snipe meta is what the game is, what Forts is right now, and that's it. Both plasmas go down at the same time. There's no more offensive firepower for Butterdog. This is how it ends. Butterdog may be able to delay things a bit, but I do not see a world in which he manages to get actual heavy weapons on the board again, even to make an attempt at door sniping. Even now, it doesn't quite have enough shotguns on the board to stop the howitzers, and they're chipping away. He does get another plasma on the board. He's still got a time before that completes, before you can even attempt another door snipe. And look at this. More howitzers finishing up for Team Fish's Fish. They're going up to 7 howitzers now, which is just kind of a lot of damage. Like, it's kind of an overwhelming amount of damage. That's more howitzer than there are shotguns on either side of the team, which has been the case for a while, and basically the entire reason why Team Fish's Fish is consistently landing hits here. But this is getting even more overwhelming than I would have ever expected this to be. Like, it's just a lot. It's so much. I think Team Fish's Fish is actually having energy issues here, is part of it. 2 howitzer shells with 1 shotgun. That's about the best case scenario for you. But losing that shotgun leaves him down with so little left. He's once again down to two anti-air launchers here, as here comes the plasma. Plasma not so simply deflected. or should I say, is simply deflected, but not with the item, not with the tools available to Butterdog at this point. And I believe that is the concede, is letting it happen as it all comes crumbling down. Team Fish's Fish wins round 1 in this best of 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we're off to round 2 here in this best of 3, where here we have on the left-hand side, it is Team Fish is Fish. Now playing as the Hurricane Commander after their victory in the previous round. I'm going to get to see a different strategy here, as they're facing off against their opponents on the right-hand side. It is Team Gonna Touch You. Ryebjik and Butterdog now are still playing as the Spook Commander to see if they can redeem themselves after their defeat in the last round. We're playing here on Stalactites 2v2. Lots of hanging bases, and not a lot of airspace between the forts, or above the forts for that matter. We won't be seeing things like mortars, not really. Those high arcing weapons. Previous season, the meta on this map was howitzer play, using the relatively short range gaps between the top forts to just blast the foundation nodes, which is still... It is still a premium tactic and seen often. I think we're more commonly seeing howitzer play from the top fort and laser play from the bottom fort, though I have seen a couple rounds where it's just all lasers. I suspect we're going to see that mixed distribution this time around. All I need to see is confirmation from Ryebjik that he's going for howitzers. My real question will be, is it going to be the double howitzer or the single howitzer play? Oh, really? We're gonna see double lasers from Team Gonna Touch You. Okay, did not expect that. Whereas on this side here on the left, it is a howitzer. It is, well, it's a howitzer. It's cannon plus lasers. We'll see if it's howitzer. I'm just assuming it's howitzers. Howitzers are the... Yeah, it's howitzers. Okay. Yeah. It is the thing to do on this map for a reason. It's just good. They're hard to stop on this map. You need multiple shotguns. You have little reaction time, and they deal so much damage that when they impact the foundation node, the whole fort comes crumbling down. As there's no follow-up to the buzzsaw. No, you gotta have at least a sniper follow-up to the buzzsaw. Oh well. Token EMP from red team here shuts down Dory. Gives Ryebjik plenty of time to reconstruct his defenses around the core, but core damage he does take. Ryebjik down to 87%. More emotional damage than practical. It's he suffers the humiliation of getting his core slapped this early on. But there's no real consequence to this. On the left side here, we do see the fire beam, plasma beam already placed. So that will be a nice and early weapons available. Whereas over here, Butterdog, his counterpart, doesn't have the plasma placed yet. I don't know if he's going to be going with a full fire beam for support kind of play. I don't think so, because, I mean, what are you supporting? There's no howitzer. This EMP is getting a wonderful amount of work done. Shutting down tech, shutting down eco, and, well, everything else. And there is the howitzer. We are seeing the double howitzer. This particular setup is very vulnerable, but very effective. The strats here tend to be either double howitzer or something that enables rapid fire howitzers, such as Eagle Eye, the Eagle Eye magazine passive, or Hurricane active. We do, of course, have Fish's Fish here playing Hurricane, so they could very easily get basically 4 shots of howitzer on the board very, very quickly from Dory going only 2 howitzers. Now, off the back of the EMP, we do see Fish's Fish taking the first hits with that fire beam, but Marlin will have a plasma beam on the board before anyone else, at least ready to fire, so this could be devastatingly effective. I don't see a whole lot of positions where it could outright end the game, but it could certainly do some real damage in terms of weapon destruction, in terms of tech sniping, or just deforming the forts, which is important. It is worth noting that Ryabjik and Red Team generally is working on anti-air and map control, so these howitzers, when they come out, will be contested. As the snipers, just the door sniping, Marlin loses the plasma beam. That's actually big. Like, that is... I don't want to call it game-winning, as it's not, but that is a huge momentum swing towards Team Gonna Touch You. Like that's a lot. The one thing Fish is Fish had at the advantage here is the early completion of the plasma, which meant just guaranteed damage across the board. And that he just lost it. It's gone. So now they're basically relying on Dory and Dory alone in order to get the damage done, which they should actually be able to do here. Will Dory have enough energy to fire? Will not be able to quad fire these. Will only be able to fire 2 of them, maybe a third. That might become relevant here. Marlin still possesses the fire beam, so with the fire beam, it can shut down the shotguns. There's 2. And you need commander active and energy, or just don't bother with it because you don't have the energy to fire it anyways. I'm liking the counter sniping from Team Fish is Fish. They are winning the sniper battle at the moment, which is going to help them keep those shotguns suppressed, and therefore the skies crossable. I believe we're seeing Dory expand their energy production at this point, which is necessary. Yeah, not quite there yet. Honestly, with this kind of map, this kind of position, you don't need massive energy production. You can just build like 4 more batteries and spend the extra 20 seconds, 30 seconds necessary to bank up the shots to get them across the board. It does work, because you only need to impact once. The nature of these forts is that they are so frail and vulnerable to howitzers that you only need 2 howitzer hits to break through and just eliminate the fort. So you don't... the extra 30 seconds, while not good to have to pay, is fine at this stage of the game. And this is the primary reason why Eagle Eye works so well. Because you don't need to do anything crazy, you just need to wait the time and then double shot your howitzer, and that got the door snipe. Oh my god, how are you alive? You aren't. I see. Okay. That happened. Dory goes down to a door snipe, Ryabjik just punishing. The moment that howitzer opened, just blasted it. I was gonna say, with that howitzer position like that, it's... I am surprised that he survived as long as he did. That howitzer position is particularly vulnerable to destruction of every kind. As Marlin's sitting there with the door open, waiting for the door snipe, he doesn't... Wow. You know, technically not a door snipe because there were no doors. Ryabjik selling off his doors to re-engineer his base to give him an angle with the plasma. And Marlin taking advantage of that to snipe it. Does a lot of damage and even knocks Ryabjik down to 61%, but in reply, Butterdog finishes off or snipes Marlin's own weapons, and now Marlin's down to 0 weapons and relying on energy shields to keep him alive, which is, you know, it's a good start. He has no upgrade center for eco bonuses, unlike his opponents, so he's at a economic disadvantage, and he's, well, his eco is being blasted right now. This is not what you want your game to look like if your team Fish is Fish. He still has an opportunity to come back here, but I don't see it happening, mostly because he hasn't placed the weapon yet. He's still saving up for it, and Rebjik is not even bothering firing the plasmas. He's just going straight to rockets, which is the call. Alright, Marlin manages to get the plasma, but he's got probably 15-20 seconds before the concept of being able to rebuild his base is just not, he's just out the window. Because once these rockets come online, okay, the snipers, the lasers, they just go clean through, and that's it. And just like that, the series is tied. And we're off to round 3 here in this matchup between these two teams. Where here we have on the left-hand side, it is Team Fish is Fish, Marlin and Dory, playing as the Scattershot commander. They'll be facing off against their opponents on the right-hand side, who are playing as the Armadillo commander. Now, this is an interesting matchup. We don't see this matchup all the time, mostly because Scattershot is quite the rare pick. But this matchup here, this round, is the decider in this best of 3. So the winner of this will take the points and move on. Now, the reason I see this one is a bit more interesting than the others is that Scattershot empowers 20 millimeters. So 20 millimeters, which typically have issues with penetration, suddenly get a little bit more powerful in a way that is devastating to most defenses. Now, this is a troubling matchup specifically because Armadillo's whole thing is increased defenses. Now, it isn't so strong that it's a hard counter. It's not like they're playing Moonshine here with the extra energy shields that just kind of go everywhere, but Armadillo is vulnerable to Scattershot shenanigans. It's just less affected by. And the thing is with Scattershot, it's very reliant on doing that damage. Unlike some other commanders that have economic bonuses or, well, really anything else. If you don't have the ability to wipe out your opponent with the empowered 20 mils, then you're just kind of in a bad position. So they're going to have to fight real hard and keep this damage up. They're going to have to keep the pace up, more accurately. Otherwise, Armadillo will simply run away with the game. Armadillo's whole gimmick is to just take the hits, be super cost efficient with it, and then, well, out-attrition your opponents. So this is going to be a matchup where either Fish's Fish manages to get something like 10-20 millimeters and just blast the opponents back to the Dark Ages, or, well, their opponents face tank those massive arrays of 20 millimeters and just win it anyways. I am expecting heavy door snipe play out of the red team here. The reason for that is in part because, well, they're going for plasmas, in part because it's just kind of the thing to do. They can sit back, play the attrition game, and then door snipe their opponents to victory. I'm still partial to cannons in the attrition war, but lasers are exceptionally good now. By that I mean cannons are less effective at attrition, so lasers just kind of are the choice. We're already up to 5 20 mils for the blue team. And the EMPs are actually charging Fish's Scattershot commander active. Honestly, if you're blue team here, I think you just let them hit you with the EMPs so that your Alpha Strike can be game winning. Yeah, 1 or 2 more EMP hits and suddenly those 20 mils will be empowered on the first launch. Which not only is a reveal as to their tactic, but will be hitting before the opponents have a real fix for it. Yeah, because now we're going to see a lot of fire beams burning those out of the sky. And that could be problematic. We're seeing energy shields going up as the pseudo-hard counter to the 20 mils. For those who are unfamiliar, the energy shields will deflect 20mm projectiles, whether they are empowered by Scattershot or not. And so they are a perfect and cost-efficient defense. As we see here, 0 damage sustained despite an entire shotgun volley of empowered Scattershot blasting directly into them. And that's going to be an issue for Team Fish's Fish, because the only places they can hit are going to be the places where the opponents want them to hit. Which can work, but it does mean that you have to play the attrition game, which means you need a lot of 20 mils and they need to be constantly blasting all over the place. Thus my earlier comments of this is going to be a wild matchup. We're going to see a lot of Daka. And we're starting to see it already. Fish's Fish already up to 6 20mm, and I'm expecting several more. Shout out to Team Fish's Fish, appropriately focusing their fire on a single target. That is the way to go. The empowered is active. I should see that fire beam shutting down. Yeah, they got to be real careful with the 20 mils because of that. Look at that. They broke through, chopped off the bottom section of the top players for it. Actually doing some damage to the eco, but no actual losses there. Scratched, but no real damage. At this point, Team Fish's Fish needs to add some kind of threats to these fire beams here. Everyone knows where these are, and these are being used to dramatically reduce the damage output for the blue team here on these 20 mils. Fish's Fish officially up to 7 20mm and adding in a howitzer now. Okay. I love to see the howitzer. I would honestly prefer a standard cannon here, because you don't need to rely on the howitzer's massive. They just keep firing. This is the way to do it, by the way. If someone's doing this fire beam defense, you don't group fire your weapons. You just keep firing constantly. Just force your opponent to wield his defenses until he can't anymore. Like, there's a cooldown on the fire beams. Just outdo it, overwhelm it. But as I was saying, the howitzer and the standard cannon, they perform functionally the same role here. You don't need the extra reward from the howitzer in order to get the damage done. I mean, your damage is coming from the 20mm during the empowered phase. So what you do is you just use the cannon to break open the shields, and then let the 20mm penetrate through and break everything underneath. The howitzer can do that just fine, but it does suffer the consequences of being the howitzer and can be defeated entirely by shotguns or anti-air generally. So why risk it when you can just use a standard cannon? Of course, standard cannons are also vulnerable to fire beams, but fire beams tend to be a lot easier to defeat than shotguns. 20 mils just going across. I think at this point, I would try to find... I appreciate this sniper up here. It's almost certainly has an angle on at least one of these fire beams for now. That can be resolved by Revjik. At least Revjik can resolve that. This sniper certainly has an angle on this. Learning. There it goes. Howitzer makes it across, but doesn't hit the energy shields. Ooh, nice. Slicing off the bottom element there and taking a fire beam with it. And now the 20 mils are going to be raining shells across. I will say, there are few things in this game more satisfying than just a constant smothering of 20 mil rounds. Using sandbags to catch the howitzer shell at the last moment, you love to see it. Another commander active ability for blue team. Ooh, actually snaking that shot above the energy shield wall and touching the turbines behind. You'll love to see it. Rebjik developing such a large block of turbines to fuel his massive energy shield expenditure. Honestly, worth it. Very worth it. Because that shuts down, like completely shuts down the 20 millimeters. Good lord. It's just constant, withering fire. I like this. This makes me happy. That said, Team Fish's Fish still doesn't have nearly enough weapons. They have, what is it? 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 mils. That's not enough. They're going up to 9. Hey, now we're seeing a standard cannon placed as well. I think with the 8 20 millimeters, 2 standard cannons and a howitzer, they might have enough firepower to break through one of the fortifications here. It's not guaranteed, but it'll be closer. Because they're pretty close now, they just need a little extra guaranteed damage. Oh, a door... no, that's not even a door snipe, that's just clean penetration. Marlin loses a 20 millimeter due to just lacking armor in that one position. That's not good for Team Fish. Like, that's really bad for Team Fish. It looks like it didn't deform enough to prevent reconstruction of the 20 mil there, so I believe he should get that back, though I'm not sure he's going to. Is yet now that they've kind of determined that there's a team tank role here, and that team tank player is going to be super efficient at those defenses, so they really need to focus on overpowering it. The howitzer lands, not breaking any energy shields, but does a lot of damage generally. Ooh, the cannon shell flies, but misses the energy shields, meaning that the 20 mils still can't get the damage done. Not quite there. We've still not seen a successful sniper from Team Fish's Fish. Honestly, Rebjik has been very effective with his sniper suppression play. And there it is. The door snipe. I called it at the beginning. That's what they're going to be going for. They're just trying to door snipe. They just tank everything and door snipe their way in. Takes out the howitzer. Marlin falls. And with Marlin down, so too goes a huge chunk of his firepower. Dory does manage to re-expand and capture the base immediately, but lacking the howitzer and multiple 20 millimeters that are now lost from that position, Team Gunataichu just kind of surviving. They've survived the withering fire of cannons, and now what's the plan? There are enough fire beams to kind of shut this down. Oh, so close. It doesn't quite snipe it. Oof. From on high. A beautiful hit for everyone involved. He's trying so very hard to disconnect that trunk, that connection to the upper fort. Manages to momentarily disconnect it, but it won't be a permanent disconnection. Dory is immediately able to reconnect and put out the fires, which are rampaging through the base. The sniping from the toucher on high is going to deal massive damage, taking out... It's surely he gets the second one. Yeah, he gets the second one as well. Taking out two 20 millimeters. This is how things continue to spiral. Once that door snipe on Marlin's base went through, it's just going to be the same kind of attritional warfare. Shot by shot, whether it be lasers on door sniper, lasers on snipers, lasers or snipers, we're gonna see the base just get kind of picked apart until there's nothing left. And all the while, red team is happy to take the hits. As you can see, so many shots fired, so much damage done, and yet it wasn't enough to break through. Now we're starting to see exposed weapons for red team here. Oh, energy shield broken. It's not enough. This man doing great work. Rapid fire in the 20 millimeters. They just... Oh! How are you still alive? How did that not crunch you? Managing to... Oh! Stability tech. Okay. I was like, how did that not... Good job, Dory. Preemptive stability tech. Catches the collapse as it... Well, prevents the collapse. And then catching what was happening. Catching the collapse as well. Like, that's just... Very good. Very, very good. Dory still has such a crazy amount of firepower on the board, and it's... With this kind of firepower, like, I can't say, you know, oh no, Dory's in danger. I mean, you have more firepower on the board than the combined... You have more firepower in your fort than the combined total weapons of the entire enemy team. And it's just, in this specific scenario, I know it's not enough to break through things, but there's a lot of damage potential here. So if Dory gets the right spot, if it gets a door snipe at the right time, or just breaks something critical, it is entirely possible to come back in this. It's just so very unlikely. Dory losing 2 more weapons as just damage from all sides. It's so much damage from so many different angles at this point. They're breaking through the armor. It's not a quick breakthrough because Dory has a lot of armor, but it is breaking slowly, shot by shot, crumbling as the lasers slice off components, the buzzsaw slice off chunks, and the plasmas cut through foreground and background bracing alike. Look at this, so much deforming. Oh, we're about to see a pen. Deep penetration, and it all comes crumbling down. And with that, Rebjik and his teammates managed to claim victory, winning 2-1 over their opponents. Fish is Fish gets knocked out this time. If you guys like this, make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, because we got more content like this coming out every single week, multiple times a week. But for now, I will see you guys in the next video.